Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today in this video I want to tell you three most inspiring people in my life. For the first is Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What happened if we were truly Muhammad's followers? If we were his true followers, we would not have so many problems in dealing with each other, especially those we differ with, and our manners on the streets and in the markets would be at a much higher level than they are today. It was he, peace be upon him, who said, "Indeed, I was only sent to complete the most noble character traits." He, he, peace be upon him, also said, "The believers with the most perfect faith are those with the most perfect conduct and manners, and the best ones amongst you are those who are best to their families." Do most Muslims today follow these high standards with their families, friends, relatives, and people they don't know? If we were his true followers, we would discuss our collective problems and future plans in a calm and consultative way, and would never allow the rule of force, violence, violence or dictatorship to prevail. God described true believers, the followers of Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the Quran as those who conduct their affairs by mutual consultation. If we were his true followers, we would be extremely kind to our neighbors, Muslims and non-Muslims, and would be a caring society where the weak and the poor are taken care of, and none would be left to sleep on the street or starve to death in countries like Somalia. After all, it was our beloved Prophet who said, "A man is not a believer who fills his stomach while his neighbor is hungry." Dealing with non-Muslim neighbors. Talking about neighbors, this video by Brother Mahir Zain is the series inspired by Muhammad. It's a song where he tries to be inspired by our Prophet in dealing with other people, including his next door neighbor, who hates him for being Muslim and puts garbage at his doorstep each morning before he leaves home. One day, Maher does not find garbage on his way out, but he hears his neighbor coughing. She has a severe cold, it seems. The Prophet, peace be upon him, one day faced a similar scenario, which was the source of inspiration for the video. So what does Mahen do as a Muslim inspired by Muhammad? He goes to the kitchen, makes a warm soup for his neighbor, and takes it next door as a small symbol of goodwill by a caring neighbor, wishing her a speedy recovery. Now, the next question is, how many of us living in West or in the East follow that example? Good relations with neighbors are very important in Islam, and the first dimension of peaceful coexistence with all members of the community or the society we live in. In the Quran, we are informed that God created us from a single soul and that we are to know one another. O mankind, we created you from a single soul, male and female, and we made you into nations and tribes that, that we may know each other. Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is the greatest of you in pity. Allah is all-knowing, all-aware. Imam Suhaib Webb in this brief presentation talks about the importance of coexistence as one of the important teachings of Prophet Muhammad, which inspired his followers to become true brothers and sisters in Islam. Despite differences of opinions they may have on certain issues. One important lesson to remember from the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is that God sent him as a mercy to the whole world, and not only to Muslims. Are Muslims today a mercy to the world, finding solutions for its problems and joining hands with people of other faiths in addressing global problems? Or are Muslims mainly concerned with their own issues with little contribution to their local societies and global matters? In this age of globalization of the 21st century, if we are really inspired by our Prophet, we should always become a mercy to humanity and not a source for its problems and worries, starting with issues like the environment, which we can all contribute to improve as suggested by Brother Timothy Winters from Cambridge University, who is leading a project for building one of Europe's first truly ecologically responsible mosques. For the second is my mother. Mother is a woman who always take care of everything for me. When I still a kid, she always cooks something delicious for me. She is a very special woman who always gives me support when I fall. Mother is something special. She gave a birth and raised me with love. And she is a woman that means everything special to me. And she including three most people inspiring of my life. For the last is R.A. Kartini. R.A. Kartini was a powerful and beautiful woman outside, but a patriot inside. She used to be what every woman would dream of being, but still she saw through it all and fought for what she believed every woman, as well as every man could be. There is so much of her to inspire any woman. Her vision, her bravery and courage, her drive, and also willpower, which eventually brings us Indonesian women to be what we are now. Raden Ayu Kartini was born from the Regency chief of Jepara and one of his wives when Indonesia was still under the Dutch colony. At this time, polygamy was still a common and legalized practice among the nobility. Other traditions also shows women are somewhat alienated from education and freedom, such as prohibition to school and arranged marriage. Fortunately, Kartini was born into a family with a strong intellectual background. Her father allowed her to go to school until she was 12. Among other subjects, she managed to speak Dutch fluently. Here, following Japanese traditions, she was secluded in her own hours to prepare herself for an arranged marriage. During her seclusion, Kartini educates herself about liberty and education through Dutch books and magazines. The books shared Dutch feminist visions and opened her eyes to the many injustice and irrational traditions of her time. She then wrote many letters and acquired Dutch pen pals. In her letters to Rosa Abandonon and Zeehandelaar, she described her mission to educate and her dream to become a teacher in her own school for women. She also expressed criticism toward Quran traditions. She didn't agree that Muslims had to memorize and recite Quran without actually understanding. She also aroused questions about the justification of polygamy, which sabotage women's dignity and value. At the age of 24, she was married to Rembang's regency chief. She was the last of his four wives. Kartini died a premature death at the age of 25. Her struggle to educate women was continued by the Van Deventer family, who built Kartini's school in Semarang, followed by other women's schools across Java. Her letters were published as a book entitled Habis Gelap Terbitlah Terang. After darkness comes light. Through her letters, he were the early principles of improving balance between men and women in Indonesia. Her strong voice and heart broke traditional barriers and showed what women were capable of. Kartini is now one of Indonesia's national heroines. The 21st of April is celebrated across the nation as Kartini Day because of her struggle to gain freedom for Indonesian women. Kartini inspired many people and bore a generation of educated and modern women. She inspires me not only because of her great service to our country but also her vision and bravery. When all the other women could only admire her entire life, she stood out and dared to fight for what she believed. Okay, I think that's all about three most inspiring people in my life. And thanks for your attention. The last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.